turkey bread. And this funky jug with Kool-Aid for only $8.98. It's Picnic Picnic at Little Caesars.
Picnic Picnic.
You're watching Channel 5.
I think most of us in this room know that some things are good and other things are wrong. And now it's time to make the discussion public.
Out of the Bush campaign, signs of dissension and charges of gay bashing.
There were references within the campaign to other people in the campaign as flaming faggots.
Tonight, the story of a battle within the Republican Party, told by a campaign insider who says he was forced out by the evangelical right because he's a homosexual.
This is ABC News Nightline. Substituting for Ted Koppel and reporting from Washington, Chris Wallace.
When the Republicans talk about traditional family values, it has always meant a lot of things. In large part, it's been a way to reach out to the 60 million people of voting age in this country who describe themselves as evangelicals, to say they share the same conservative views on a number of social issues. But tonight, you'll hear from a loyal Republican who says that talk about family values has now become a code word in the Bush Quayle campaign for bigotry against homosexuals. You're going to hear from a young man named Tyler Franz. His story is also being reported in tomorrow's Wall Street Journal. Franz, who is openly gay, worked in the campaign since January. But last week, he says he was forced to leave because the religious right wanted him out. Our report, though, is about more than one man's job problems. It's about how much diversity Republican campaign officials will allow, whether there is room in the party, both for evangelicals and for gays. ABC's John Martin reports.
Until a week ago, Tyler Franz was manager of the Bush Quayle Campaign Information Resource Center. He joined the staff here in Washington 7 months ago as a strong believer in George Bush as a world leader. This morning, he went to the District of Columbia's Office of Human Rights to file a complaint against the campaign.
And this explains to you the steps that you have to take in our office if you are a private sector person. Okay.
Franz's complaint accuses his Republican campaign supervisors of trying to remove him from his job at Bush Quayle headquarters because he is openly homosexual.
That will be handled by my attorney.
All right.
By the time he left the Human Rights Office, Franz had set in motion a possible lawsuit to recover back pay and damages from the Bush Quayle campaign. Franz said he aroused hostility when he questioned what he considered anti-gay themes in campaign literature.
The campaign was starting to associate itself with anti-gay bigots who were using that, in my opinion, to raise funds and to generate voter and membership support. And I felt this was wrong.
Good afternoon, Bush Quayle 93. May I help you?
This is the national campaign headquarters where Franz worked until a week ago. Today, the phone volunteers he supervised worked on without him. Franz says he organized and set up the Campaign Information Resource Center. A campaign spokeswoman called him the chief receptionist. Franz said he made no secret of his gay orientation and had been praised by superiors, including campaign manager Fred Malik. But recent pressure from right-wing religious groups caused the campaign to seek his removal, he said. His complaint says he was told that Roy Jones, a campaign religious consultant, and Mimi Dawson, head of the campaign coalition department, wanted me out because of my ideological differences with the religious right. Neither Jones nor Dawson was available for comment tonight, but the campaign spokeswoman said ideology had nothing to do with Franz's reassignment. He was burned out. We were getting complaints that he was being rude and curt to people. We offered him the job of assistant for building services with a raise. He chose not to accept it.
I honestly believe, based on what I know about George Bush, that he is not a biased man, that he would not be concerned that I am a gay man working on his campaign.
What you're saying is that the religious right has captured this campaign and taken it over.
I have every reason to believe that that is the case. No one in that campaign is stopping the anti-gay rhetoric.
Thank you all very much, Mayor.
The Bush Quayle campaign has been courting the religious right, increasingly using family values as the key symbol in its opposition to homosexuals in the military or to expanding legal protection for gays and lesbians. The vice president is the subject of an approving cover story and interview in the August Family Voices, published by a conservative women's group. In it, Quayle says he would be opposed to any law that encourages or sanctifies marriages of the same sex. The July issue warns its readers against the danger of what it calls the homosexualization of U.S. culture. The vice president has criticized the value system of what he calls the cultural elite. Tonight, an administration friend, the Reverend Jerry Falwell, said there is no place for homosexuals in political campaigns.
I do feel that the American public today are not ready, and I hope they never are, to accept homosexuality as an alternate lifestyle. And when a person purports to represent the candidate for president, vice president of the United States, I do not think it is proper to have a gay person in that role.
Why can't they simply exclude a gay person from a campaign organization?
We have a law in the District of Columbia that prohibits denying a person employment simply on the basis of sexual orientation.
In Boston today, the president of a 5,000-member Republican Gay Federation said the treatment of Tyler Franz is part of a fight for the party's ideological soul.
What has happened with Tyler is really a wake-up call for moderate Republicans. We have to make a decision as moderate Republicans what we're going to do. Is it time to fight to get our party back from really what has been a 10-year blip on the screen?
The Wall Street Journal reports tonight that the campaign personnel director does not deny that the subject of ideological differences was broached, but says Mr. Franz's account of what happened is overblown. This is John Martin for Nightline in Washington.
Joining me now here in Washington, the man who is charging gay bashing in the Bush campaign, Tyler Franz. Mr. Franz, you say that you are a loyal Republican on both a personal and a political level. Why take this on? Why get into a confrontation with the Bush Quayle campaign?
Because I believe it's the right thing to do. I believe my rights have been violated. I'm an openly gay man. I have been for many years. I was forced out of my job because of it. Gays and lesbians across this country are being discriminated against, and it's not right. And in the District of Columbia, it's against the law.
And what is it that you hope to achieve by going public?
To bring out discrimination within the campaign, that the campaign policy overall, the anti-gay rhetoric, became personnel policy, and it was wrong.
We want to get into much more with you, but we have to break away for a moment. And when we return, we'll also be joined by the head of a national gay Republican group.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Bayer.
Wasted time.
Not enough time. Parenthood.
Unemployment.
You never needed it more. A new extra-strength pain reliever made to get today's tough headaches before they really get you. 1,000 milligrams strong. Stomach guard. And the name Bayer. That should ease your mind. Introducing new extra-strength Bayer Plus for headaches. Now there's no pain you can't bear.
Now save an additional $500 on new Jeep Wranglers.
Iowa, a place to grow, and GTE is proud to be a part of that growth. A company that's more than just people. They're a part of the community, enjoying the America that everyone dreams about. Quality education, family values, where neighbor helps neighbor, and people take pride in what they do and where they live. Beautiful cities like Grinnell, a community GTE is proud to serve and work with as a partner in helping maintain the quality of living in Iowa. GTE, the power's on.
It's us and them. Phony insurance companies mean a lot of people think they have insurance and don't. Are you one? Sam Donaldson investigates. Primetime Thursday.
We invited the Bush Quayle campaign to join our discussion tonight on allegations of gay bashing, but a spokeswoman declined, saying that the campaign wanted to do nothing that would enhance the credibility of the man making the charges. That man is Tyler Franz, who rejoins us now. Also joining our discussion is Rich Tafel, the national president of the Log Cabin Federation, a gay Republican organization that claims 5,000 members across the U.S. Mr. Franz, we ran a clip at the beginning of this broadcast in which you quoted senior staffers as talking about, quote, flaming faggots. Give us a sense of the tone inside the campaign. I mean, was it really that raw?
It most definitely was. Commonly, I overheard anti-gay statements said throughout the campaign, but most of it was focused within the Department of Coalitions, where the Evangelical Coalition had certainly started an insurgence as early as last March.
Now, the Department of Coalitions, as I understand it, was a department that was to reach out to the religious right, to the evangelicals. Tell about some of the people that they brought in, some of the spokesmen for the religious right, and what their influence was in the campaign.
They wielded enormous influence. Although small in numbers in terms of percentage in the overall campaign,
yes, sir. You said that although they were small in number, what was the influence that they had?
They brought in an evangelical consultant. His name is Roy Jones. Under his influence came in Bob Heckman. These were the key people overseeing such coalitions as Sportsmen for Bush and even Fishermen for Bush.
And how did you feel the anti-gay ideology expressed from this coalitions department?
Many of the documents that came through the campaign were clearly from religious leaders who had very anti-gay rhetoric in their presentations, and this became part of the coalitions department agenda.
Did you come to feel at some point a sense of threat, almost a sense of a witch hunt against gays within the campaign like yourself?
That I did not feel until the last days that I was there. And it was brought to my attention by two other people within the campaign that they feared a gay witch hunt.
What do you mean? I mean, expand on that, if you will.
They approached me out of concern, not only for me, but about themselves.
These were other gays in the campaign?
That is correct.
And what'd they say?
Their lives, they felt, were in jeopardy. If this would happen to me, then it could happen to them. There was open discussion by this point about my being gay and my being forced out.
You told me earlier, before the broadcast, that last month you went to see the campaign chairman, Robert Mosbacher, to complain about the anti-gay attitude within the campaign. What was his response to your complaints?
He understood where I was coming from. We talked openly about various forms of bigotry, racism, anti-Semitism. He said all campaigns will have staff who possess those characteristics. I did bring to his attention that Reverend Lou Sheldon had been in the campaign, and he had been on record for the period of the existence of the Traditional Values Coalition as being anti-gay. I felt that this was very damaging to the campaign. I felt it was very negative in its tone, and it was, most importantly, alienating significant voter blocks to include gay and lesbian Americans and the families of gay and lesbian Americans.
I'm not quite sure, Mr. Franz, I understand, because from what you've said, Mr. Mosbacher, who was the chairman of the campaign, seemed to be somewhat sympathetic to your complaints, and yet a month later, you were out. What happened?
My belief is that the religious right was taking such a stronghold in the campaign that they were virtually taking over the campaign's direction.
Let me bring in, if I can at this point, Rich Tafel, who is the national president of the Log Cabin Federation. Mr. Tafel, are you surprised by this? I mean, President Bush has, upon occasion, reached out to gays, brought them in for several signing ceremonies at the White House. What's going on here?
Well, we've seen a real change in the Bush administration. The first 2 years, he was the first president in the history of the United States to invite gay people to the White House. He signed a couple other bills that were pro-gay. Barbara Bush lit a candle for parents and families of lesbians and gays. Lee Atwater said the big tent was big enough for gay Republican groups. But suddenly everything changed, and it seems to have happened about the time when George Bush raised taxes. And at that time,
he alienated his conservative core and the right wing, and he's been trying to get them back ever since. He's now a fiscal liberal and a social conservative. There's a flip-flop about that time. The Persian Gulf War, and now we're back to this again. And we've seen a continual pattern within the Bush administration and within the campaign and the traditional family values rhetoric of moving more and more as using the gay community as someone to attack, to bring in the right wing.
How does Dan Quayle, in your opinion, Mr. Tafel, fit into this with his push for traditional family values?
Well, there's no doubt that Dan Quayle was brought in the first place to shore up George Bush's conservative credentials. And it's clear that he firmly enjoys going around the country. He is the lead gay basher that's going around with his traditional family values rhetoric, attacking gay people and gay relationships and gay families, and as other groups too. So we're convinced he's the favorite of the right wing.
I mean, and what you seem to be saying, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what you seem to be saying is this is a conscious, cynical effort to reach out and win the religious right.
I think especially with Ross Perot in the race, they needed to shore up their right wing, and they couldn't do it on fiscal issues, as Pat Buchanan pointed out, because George Bush had raised taxes. So in an effort to do that, they had to pick on a group. We don't have communists anymore on the right wing to pick on, so we had to find a new scapegoat, and I'm afraid it was going to become the gay community, which is why I think what Tyler is doing is so important at this time, to call it and make it public and let them deal with it and let them deny it, but we need to bring it out in the open.
All right, we've talked about the Bush-Quayle campaign. We've talked about Vice President Quayle. In your opinion, Mr. Tafel, is George Bush a willing and knowing participant in all this?
Well, I was a big fan of George Bush's, but at some point, if you're a leader of a country and you're a leader of a party and you're a leader of a campaign, you have to take responsibility for what happens at every level of that campaign, of that country, and of that party. And he has to take responsibility for what's going on in his campaign. And I think we'd like to separate him from that, but you can't do it anymore. He is responsible for that, and if he would like to exercise some leadership and clean house, I think that's what's called for.
Gentlemen, we have to break away for a moment, but when we return, I want to ask you both whether or not there is room in the Republican Party for both evangelicals and for gays. And we'll continue our discussion in a moment.
It may surprise you to learn who, over 30 years ago, was the first car maker to build cars with seat belts, to make safety glass standard, the first U.S. car maker to offer anti-lock brakes, and who today offers more models with dual airbags than any other manufacturer. That company is Ford Motor Company.
We're committed to making safety innovation an important part of quality.
Ford Motor Company. Quality is job one. It's working. It's working.
The Lamborghini Diablo, 202 miles per hour. The Lockheed SR-71, Mach 3. The Fountain Lightning, 114 miles per hour. The IBM PS2, featuring the SLC processor, the fastest in its class, proving that records aren't only broken in the air, on the track, and on the water, but on your desk. The PS2 SLC.
From the lookout tower on Mount Black, you can see forever, which is just about the distance to a grocery store. So when you do make the trip out, you think harder about what you buy. You check the facts. And of the 50 leading cereals, you'll find only one that's low in sugar and a good source of fiber and made from whole grain oats. Cheerios. It makes sense to think harder about breakfast, especially when the breakfast table is 200 feet up. Choose smart. Choose Cheerios.
You thought you heard the worst about this priest accused of child sex abuse. Now, new accusations, new victims, and new tales of horror. Primetime, Thursday.
Continuing our discussion now with Tyler Franz and Rich Tafel. Mr. Franz, it may be cynical, but aren't the Republicans just playing smart politics here? There are millions of evangelicals. There are far fewer gays, and most of them aren't Republicans. Aren't the Republicans, isn't the Bush-Quayle campaign just going where the votes are?
I don't believe that's the case. I think gay Republicans are part of a moderate Republican group. I think George Bush and his campaign in the last several months have completely alienated that group, and he will not be able to win in November unless he regains support of that group.
Mr. Tafel, let me bring you in at this point, because you made an interesting point before. You said that the anti-gay movement in the Bush-Quayle campaign really began during the competition with Ross Perot. At this point, he's out of the race. Does that change the political equation, perhaps, for the Bush Quayle campaign?
Well, I think the campaign's in real trouble right now. They've got to bring back the moderate voters, not just moderate Republicans, but independents also. And the way to do that is to be strong on the other issues than simply traditional family values as a code word for gay bashing. I think moderate Republicans in general, whether they're pro-choice or pro on gay issues or on civil rights issues, need to be brought back into the party and under George Bush right now, and that's not happening.
But let me ask you, as a practical political matter, how do you reconcile evangelicals and gays? How do you get them both inside the same tent?
Well, I first want to point out that a lot of homosexuals are Christians and some are even evangelicals. They're not mutually exclusive. We're talking about a small core of evangelicals who are really full of hatred and don't express any of the traditional tenets of Christianity. That is to say that you can't have a big tent when you have people within that tent who are completely intolerant of other people's lifestyles. Whereas our party was built on tolerance and has a libertarian streak in it that goes back to its founding, which says what you do in the privacy of your bedroom is your own business, and government should be small and stay out of people's lives. These folks want a big government that goes into people's lives and tells them how to live their life.
Mr. Franz, let me bring you in. I mean, what do? You heard Jerry Falwell a few moments ago say that there's no place for gays in this campaign. You know, if you were going to give advice to Bob Mossbacher, what would you say to him? How do you reconcile? How do you get both sides inside the same tent?
If Robert Mossbacher wants the president to be reelected, a way has to be made for both to be in the big tent.
And how do you do it?
We come to the table as team players. We're not single-issue voters. I don't think they can be single-issue voters. We have to work together.
Mr. Tafel, where do loyal Republican gays go now? I mean, do you go support Bill Clinton?
That's a good question. I think there's still time for George Bush to clean house, get rid of Dan Quayle, maybe Mimi Dawson also. If there's some house cleaning, things could change. That's a pretty optimistic scenario. Bill Clinton, who doesn't have a great record on gay issues as governor of Arkansas, at least understands the importance of reaching out to the gay community, and I'm sure that some gay Republicans will probably vote for Bill Clinton in the election.
You talk about getting rid of Dan Quayle. What would that accomplish? I mean, you've made it clear that this really goes to George Bush.
Well, I think Dan Quayle really is a symbol of what it's all about with the conservatives. He is their leader, and that would be a statement that George Bush is going to be George Bush, the George Bush who ran on the ticket of a kindler, gentler nation, the George Bush who was the first president to invite gay people to the White House. He could regain that if he worked quickly, met with gay leaders, asked for their input to the campaign, focused on AIDS issues, but I don't believe it can happen with Dan Quayle as vice president.
What role do you see Republican gays playing at the Republican convention next month?
Well, actually, our delegates for our own clubs will be there at the same time in Houston, and we plan on at least presenting to the media another part of the Republican Party, the gay and lesbian community in the Republican Party at that time. So we also have some people who will be alternate delegates at the campaign.
You know, some people would say, Mr. Tafel, you just don't get it. I mean, these people don't want you. I mean, you wanted to make a statement in May to the Republican Platform Committee. They wouldn't hear you. I mean, at this point, shouldn't you take no for an answer?
That may be right, but our role as gay Republicans is to work within our party. We may not be having tremendous success at the federal level, and even the fact that we're on the show tonight says we could have an impact on this campaign. At the local level, we've been more successful. I'm from Massachusetts, and we have a very pro-gay Republican governor, Bill Weld. So it's not necessarily true that because the Bush campaign is anti-gay right now, the rest of the country's Republicans are in the same boat.
Mr. Franz, I know you didn't seek it, but it appears that you are in the midst of your 15 minutes of fame here. How do you feel about all this?
To be honest, I'm very proud to be gay. I'm very proud to be stating my case because it needs to be made. I could be laying on a beach somewhere in the tropics right now. I need to do what I have to do.
Were there some thoughts when it became clear last week that they were going to try to force you out? Was there some thought, I'll go quietly, I'll take that demotion, that job down on the 6th floor where nobody else is?
Well, it's interesting that you brought this up. I think the demotion, and it clearly was a demotion, was an attempt to force me out, to embarrass me, to humiliate me, and for me to just quit. They did offer me a lump sum payment if I would sign a release not claiming not making any future claims in court against the campaign.
And why did you decide not to go that way?
Because this is a very important issue to me. I don't want to allow the Republican Party to split apart. I'm very much a Republican, and I want to bring everybody together.
Mr. Franz, we appreciate you very much for coming here tonight and telling us your story.
Thank you so very much.
Mr. Tafel, we also appreciate your joining us. And I'll be back in a moment.
In high school, Sharon Simpson used to call me Pinhead. So at the 10-year class reunion, I drive up in my new Eagle Talon TSI all-wheel drive.
And what did she say?
Nice car, Pinhead.
My big brother says his Eagle Talon has 195 horses under the hood.
Oh, so you're looking for the horsies.
No, I'm checking out the intercooled turbocharger.
I take my son to daycare every day, and his security is my primary concern.
Paul Kewen talks about his new Goodyear AquaTread radials.
When I first saw the AquaTread, I thought, okay, I see how the water is going to flow away.
The advanced Deep Groove Aqua Channel channels water away as you drive.
I feel like I've got control in different conditions.
AquaTread, only from Goodyear. Paul Kewen knows, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
I feel very confident.
So you just got a cash advance, did you? Too bad you used an ordinary credit card. Because you could be carrying some very heavy interest charges. Why not carry the Discover card? Just pay your full monthly balance and a small transaction fee, and we'll forget the interest. Which means our money comes with no strings attached. It pays to Discover.
Experience a piece of history. Visit the Mamie Eisenhower birthplace in Boone. Restored to the 1890s period, this museum and library pays tribute to one of the nation's most respected first ladies. See the history, feel the pride. The Mamie Eisenhower birthplace. Down the street, you'll enjoy a relaxing adventure at the Douglas House Tea Rooms and Gift Shop. This grand old Victorian-style home features 3 different tea rooms and an exquisite gift shop filled with unique gifts for all occasions. Private rooms are available for business lunches, weddings, dress rehearsals, and other group functions. Look for the new year-round Christmas room to open soon.
After 11 years of service, he reveals he's gay. How will the military respond?
And when a visit from the stork means you're fired, what you can do about it on the next Good Morning America.
Tomorrow evening, a primetime investigation. Phony insurance companies. It takes an accident to find your policy is worthless. And that's our report for tonight. I'm Chris Wallace in Washington. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
Nightline is a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
Saturday. The man I'm interested in was trained to go behind the lines in Nam and terminate people.
The human target goes up against an old comrade in arms.
Are you ready?
Rick Springfield is the human target, premiering Saturday at 9, 8 Central.
Patchy drizzle and fog overnight with a low in the 60s.
When you least expect it, you're elected, you're the star. A banana You're on Candid Camera. With us hocus pocus, focus. It's your lucky day. Smile. You're on Candid Camera. Smile. You're on Candid Camera.
From Universal Studios Hollywood, the host of our show, PhD in comedy, Dom DeLuise.
Make yourself at home, and welcome to Candid Camera. For our first gag, we went to Jefferson Barracks in beautiful St. Louis, Missouri, to watch some unsuspecting folks march to a different drummer. Brum, watch. This is our fake salute to the Armed Forces featuring an ROTC Honor Guard drill team. Our Bob Murray and Dawn Meadows were on hand to cover this exciting event live as part of a national broadcast.
Thanks for coming in today, guys. Appreciate that.
Now, these 4 members of the drill team are with us, and they worked out their routine, so no matter what commands are given, they will all do the same thing. But then we brought in these folks to fill in for an ailing team member.
No matter what happens, everybody, just keep going, of course, because we all make little mistakes. But we're live on satellite here, so just keep going no matter. If you make a mistake, don't worry about it. Just continue on, okay?
With only moments to go before the live broadcast, the drill team leader makes sure that the new member knows just what to do.
Perfect.
Perfect. And then it was showtime.
2, 1.
We are coming to you live from the Jefferson National Barracks in St. Louis, Missouri, where our armed forces are being honored by the Junior ROTC. Let's go to them now.
And off they went. Everything was great until...
Forward, march. To the right flank, march.
Yep, the order was column right, but...
Column right, march.
This young man, he knows he's following orders, but they don't make any sense. So, like any good military man, he regroups and attacks. Right on.
March.
This cadet deserves a medal for bravery under fire. Remember, she thinks she's on national TV.
Right flank, march.
And this is a new definition for the term detached duty. Watch her lips as she says to herself, I do not believe this. Well, enough marching. Let's do some simple rifle drills. Oh, I've got to hand it to these cadets. It got pretty messy, but no one left the field of battle. He may not know the routine, but he sure knows how to hold his position. You gotta give her credit. She's trying. Well, finally, the broadcast was over. But there was one last command from our Bob Murray.
Everybody now, on command. All smile. Smile. A big smile, because you're on Candid Camera right now. This is Candid Camera. Right over here.
Tape. I use it all the time to hang things on my refrigerator door. But did you ever get in trouble trying to get it started and off the roll? You would if the tape was supplied by Candid Camera. Roll it. We hired some secretaries and asked them to wrap a package for our phony boss. We supplied everything they needed. And a few things they didn't, like the aggravation they would get from our rigged roll of tape. I've been there. How about you? Oh, my goodness. We sabotaged the tape by slicing it with a razor blade, so a sliver is all they're going to get. Happy wrapping, folks. Oh, my. This gal is really determined, but if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. This is a sticky situation. It's getting more frustrating.
It's not ready. It's this one. And my
it's got to be ready. I got to get it to the airport, else it's going to miss its flight.
Okay.
Time for some rapid wrapping.
Wait.
Just when you think the job is all wrapped up, the boss calls up and asks you to check inside the package. Whoa! Oh, no! Yes, 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 yes.
Things are really starting to cook. Look what's on today's menu.
Coming up, watch Candid Camera turn a receptionist into a ringmaster. But first, it's a masterpiece of comedy when Candid Camera visits an art gallery.
New Kellogg's Just Right versus Total.
The debate between high-nutrition cereals will begin.
Kellogg's Just Right has a new improved taste.
Total tastes the same.
Plus, we have 4 different grains, now even tastier.
Oh, my.
Not to mention our blend of juicy raisins, sweet dates, and crunchy almonds.
Well, Total has 100% of 12 vitamins and minerals plus calcium.
You got one.
Same here.
You lost one.
And 4 out of 5 people prefer our new taste.
Well, at least you know when it's a total loss.
Kellogg's Just Right. The new taste makes it even better.
Mommy says to clean in proper order. Glasses, silverware, dishes, then pans.
Or greasy.
Mommy never says you, Daddy.
Because Dawn cleans the greasiest grease. Dawn breaks it up and takes it away.
Oh, no, we forgot a glass and the water's all greasy.
What are we gonna do? Let's do what Mommy would do. See? The glass isn't greasy. Neither are my hands.
It goes there.
And I thought your mother was tough.
Dawn takes grease out of your way.
Tired of making others rich? Need a second income? See the area's largest selection of full and part-time businesses at the all-new Own Your Own Business Expo Saturday and Sunday at the Convention Center. See exhibits, get the facts, find the business to suit your lifestyle and budget. Many can be operated at home without business experience, and some need just a small investment. So stop wishing and start doing. Choose from a tremendous selection of full and part-time businesses at the all-new Own Your Own Business Expo this Saturday and Sunday at the Convention Center, 501 Grand Avenue. Expo hours 11 to 6.
It's Personal Connections Plus, 1-900-680-PLUS. Looking for romance or just want to have fun? Personal Connections Plus is fast and easy and very discreet. 1-900-680-7587. Don't waste time with newspaper ads or blind leads. Hear from someone in your area right now and in their own voice. Call 1-900-680-PLUS for a perfect connection. Just $2.99 per minute. Over 18, please.
By the great artists like Andrew Wyeth and Edward Hopper.
Me too. Oh, but I prefer the modern masters like Wolfgang Puck, Julia Child, Paul Prudhomme.
Those are chefs. Those aren't artists.
Wait a minute. They're chefs to you. They're artists to me.
Well, that just goes to show that when it comes to artwork, everybody has their own opinion, and that's the basis of our next gag.
Bon appetit.
We had some of our Candid Camera staffers create an instant abstract painting. Ah, yes, artistic birth before your very eyes. Gee, kind of leaves you breathless, doesn't it? Okay, then we hung our work of art in this prestigious Chicago art gallery along with a camera mounted behind it. Finally, we sent in our Bob Pirlo, who pretended to be the artist responsible.
Rather campy.
By the look on her face, I'm not sure that was a compliment.
What do you think of this? Interesting.
Interesting.
I dig it. I like it.
Great, that's great. Thank you.
It only took 10 minutes to create, but he likes it. That's okay. Art's in the eye of the beholder. But to find out why, we had our Tom Tully pretend to be curious.
What do you really think of this?
I really like it.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really wild. Why do I like it?
Yeah.
I like all the colors. I love you, Mom. I like...
This woman probably wouldn't react this way if she was appraising a leg of lamb or a chicken, but art is food for the soul. And Bob's about to get quite a recipe. For example, listen to this.
This is reality, okay, what's going on in this picture. And we're trying to make the world a better place to live. And that only you can make the difference. And reality is hitting you right in the face and staring at you.
It's like she painted it, okay, sir? It's like she painted it. This is what I felt. She just told you what's in my heart, my upside-down heart. The freeways, the brutality of man and palm trees against the freeway. You look at
By now, Bob had talked about all the parts of the painting except the mirror.
you can see yourselves on TV. See? Look.
Yes.
Because you are. Yes. You're on Candid Camera. Yes.
What?
Yes.
Nobody likes cars honking at them. In this next gag, nobody honked. Confused? So are these drivers. Take a look. This is a quiet residential neighborhood in Columbus, Ohio, where we installed a traffic light and painted a big white limit line on the pavement. Then, whenever a car approached, bingo, we turned the light to red. Oh, and here comes our first driver. Of course he stops, but watch his reaction. He doesn't get it. Then he got it. Some irate driver behind him, except... Ooh, there's no one back there for him to glare at. Confusing, right? Here's why. We stashed a remote control car horn in a handy trash can on the curb. The light's red, the horn is honking. Would you wait for the green like this fellow? Now, this woman stopped very cautiously. She's not even close to the line, but then... She didn't look back, but she ooches forward very slowly. Now I think she's getting a bit irritated. It's the horn. She wants to obey that traffic light, but those irritating horns are getting on her nerves, and she just can't find the other driver. She stopped at the light cautiously, and in less than 1 minute, her irritation gets the best of her. She's gone. Now here's a guy who's got to be used to all kinds of traffic irritations. Okay, fine. Now this woman gets my vote for the most patient driver. She stops. She waits. She gets our horn and then slowly turns into her driveway, just the other side of the line. Thanks, Columbus, Ohio.
Life is full of surprises, and so is today's show. Coming up, a Candid Camera job filled with balloons and buffoons.
It's the national event you've all been waiting for, the Fabric Truckload Sale at Ben Franklin Crafts. Ben Franklin stores from across the nation join forces to bring you the biggest 99-cent fabric truckload sale ever. Stock up on brand new fabrics direct from the factory, an incredible 99 cents a yard. There's thousands of yards to choose from, thousands of broadcloth, prints, solids, twills, poplins, plaids, and so many others, all only 99 cents a yard. Hurry, the Fabric Truckload Sale ends soon. Ben Franklin Crafts.
Tired of making others rich? Need a second income? See the area's largest selection of full and part-time businesses at the all-new Own Your Own Business Expo Saturday and Sunday at the Convention Center. See exhibits, get the facts, find the business to suit your lifestyle and budget. Many can be operated at home without business experience, and some need just a small investment. So stop wishing and start doing. Choose from a tremendous selection of full and part-time businesses at the all-new Own Your Own Business Expo this Saturday and Sunday at the Convention Center, 501 Grand Avenue. Expo hours 11 to 6.
It's Personal Connections Plus, 1-900-680-PLUS. Looking for romance or just want to have fun? Personal Connections Plus is fast and easy and very discreet. 1-900-680-7587. Don't waste time with newspaper ads or blind leads. Hear from someone in your area right now and in their own voice. Call 1-900-680-PLUS for a perfect connection. Just $2.99 per minute. Over 18, please. It's Confidential Affairs, live and in private. Call 1-900-740-GIRL now and talk live one-on-one with one of our special ladies. 1-900-740-4475, one-on-one. Share an intimate moment with the woman of your choice, live and in private. Pick up your phone now and dial 1-900-740-GIRL. $5.99 per minute, $9.99 the first. Over 18, please.
Some members of our studio audience may receive new craft-free peppercorn ranch. So good, it's anything but the same old grind. If it tastes too good to be fat-free, it's craft-free. Plus, Chuckles Candy, the great-tasting chewy fruit candy that's fun to eat and fun to share. Next time you're at the candy counter, pick up some Chuckles Candy.
All right. Imagine this. You're a temporary worker, and your first day on the job, your boss gives you one instruction. Do not let anyone step on the brown rug in the outer office. Easy? Yeah. Oh, no. Not when you're on Candid Camera. Okay, here's a scene. More so than tired, some